Are you having a problem with your limiter? Is it taking over your life, setting ceilings on your relationships, on your income, on your finances, your success, everything in your life? Well, welcome to Limitless from DMG Audio. Here we are. I'm going to jump right into it, and I'm going to be using a cool example from a single I got dropping on April 16th called Stolen Love, which you got to go pre-save or you got to go get into right now if you haven't already. This is a really cool song, and I'm really excited about it. But I'm going to play you some of the song, and you can groove out, and then we'll show you what I'm doing on the master using DMG Audio's Limitless.
Calm down for the afternoon. She's giving that attitude. Stolen love, it's stolen love. Keep pulling in my heart. The waiting is so hard. Stolen love, you stolen love. I'm 1, 2, 3, 4 sure.
And that's all you get. Just a little tease. First verse, little chorus action. Again, dropping on April 16th. I got to give myself some self-promo. You know what I mean? That's how we do it. Because ain't nobody else promoting me. Let's get into the Master Bus and DMG Audio Limitless, because that's what this plugin of the week is all about and what it's dedicated to. So as you can see, first off, I have a lot of things on the Master Bus. So let's get into, first of all, the GUI. I'm not going to give you a breakdown of exactly like, yo, DMG Audio, okay, this threshold does this, the ceiling does this. If you want that kind of breakdown, the plugin of the week is not the place for you. All right. And if you leave a comment about how, oh, you didn't explain the LUFS meter, like, get the fuck out of here. This channel's not for you. I'm going to try to get this to you the way that I know it. And I'm a musical guy. I like music. I love music, actually. And so I use things musically. I am going to explain a few of the features of Limitless that I absolutely love. And as you can see, some of the shaping that I've done on the dynamic EQ as well. So I'm not a mastering engineer. I do master a lot of records. I think that if you're going to compete in 2021 going beyond, you should always try to get your records to sound as finished as possible. So I did master this record. This is my record. I didn't want anyone else mastering it. I know what I want. I know what I need. This is kind of the GUI, the interface. You can go up here and see the setup button, and you could change a bunch of different stuff in here. You got advanced DSP, you got a high pass frequency, high pass filter. So you can actually turn the high pass filter on if you don't want to affect certain frequencies, which I think is really, really cool. And I would actually just turn this on to like 20, 15, just to get rid of some bullshit at the bottom right away. And then you got a high pass frequency slope. So that's obviously your Q. It's like your dB per octave. This is at 18 dB. Slope. And then you got a gain structure, threshold pre-clip, right? You can actually literally turn this on and off. And I think this is just kind of giving you a little bit of like a saturation, like think about it as like soft clipping. A to D, D to A converter would do with soft clipping, right? Just adds a little harmonic structure to it. I'm actually going to turn that off. I don't want that. And then you have some transient separation stuff. I won't get into the details of this, but I will tell you DMG Audio Limitless works with 2 limiters and a dynamic EQ, which is really what makes this thing limitless, right? That's why it's so transparent. It uses a transient limiter, which focuses on the transients and a look ahead to the transients, but then it also has a limiter after that and a dynamic EQ, which is all playing with each other, which is what makes this plugin so powerful and so cool, and why I use it on almost every single master I do. And a lot of the times my workflow is to kind of produce, mix, master while I go. I wouldn't say mix and master while I go, but I want to set up the master bus, and I kind of like change colors and mix the record into my mastering chain. And then I adjust the mastering chain as I go as well. Always, right? So I'm just kind of finding the sweet spots in all my plugins, and that's kind of just how I do it. I think of it as a modular process. You have some of this stuff. You can look into this stuff. I don't really know a whole lot about this. Of course, again, I'm not here to give you the overview and the tutorial of what this is. I'm just trying to show you guys how I use it as the plugin of the week. So there are a couple places you can get styles and presets, right? So style, you can go here and you could choose between manual, aggressive, punchy, warm, smooth, tight, transparent, all that good stuff. The cool thing is like this kind of sets up the settings that are in the manual mode, right? So if I go to manual here, aggressive, let's say, right? It's going to switch this stuff down here. Okay, so this is the advanced. When you click that advanced button, it goes directly back to manual. So if I go to smooth and then I click this button here, it's kind of like saying show the advanced features, okay? And then it goes back to manual. So it's kind of like it's like you're setting up a preset, opening a preset, and then you're clicking the advanced and it's copying it down to a manual thing. So this is the preset, 60% on the dynamics, 100% on the release shape, all that good stuff, but it's like copying it down. So now you can mess with those things. So like, let's go to tight and then let's click advanced and then you can see 80% dynamics, right? So what is this 80% dynamics? This is the actual transient limiter. So the transient limiter, how much do you want it to affect the transients, grab the transients and limit the transients? That's what it's doing. So this is saying 80% is going to be your tight mode, right? So punchy, I'd imagine it would be doing less on the dynamics. Let's check it. Okay, punchy, bam. 40%, right? So see now punchy, you're letting more of the dynamics through. You're not limiting the dynamics as much, the transients. So again, limitless is built with two limiters in mind. There is a transient limiter, which you'll see when I press play. You're going to see these transients getting limited.
Pouring all the same shots, baby, again. Feels like it's over, it's over. Maybe I should stay. Change. Maybe I will find a way to just get over it. Too down to go, you're up for games, but baby, for now, go on, don't waste it. Calm down for the afternoon.
So hopefully you're noticing that as I bring the dynamics up to 100%, it's saying, hey, I want 100% of the transient limiter to start grabbing the transients, right? Which is just going to give you a lot more level because it's starting to detect the transients in a look-ahead fashion. So you're still keeping punchiness in it. It's basically able to limit harder. It's like saying, hey, these transients are peaking. You know, you got your RMS and you got your peak. So RMS is here and your peak is here. The difference is your crest factor, right? That's the difference between RMS and peak. Your peak is always going to be your transient. It's going to be your kick, your snare, you know, vocal going like that, right? Or like the horn stabbing. Like those are transient information that is starting to go, ooh, tuck that back a little bit so we can get less crest factor, which is going to give you your LUFs, which is basically this LUF reading when you want to get it to like a -6, you know, what a loud record is. That's the LUFs is the crest factor. It's literally saying between the RMS and the peak, what's the difference? Oh, it's -5 dB of a difference. It's -9 dB of a difference. It's -12 dB of a difference, right? That's kind of your dynamic range. That's saying like, okay, you got now 12 dB of dynamic range. You got 5 dB of dynamic range. Really loud records are obviously going to be in a lower number in the LUFs, okay? That's what we use this for. The dynamics, we're saying, hey, 100%, we want to grab those transients, and then we want to use the threshold and the ceiling, and we just want to smash it out, right? So let's hear it as we smash it out, and we're using the dynamics as well. So 100% dynamics, we're going to start smashing. We're going to bring the ceiling up to, let's like even bring it to -0.1. Really smash this record. And I'm going to bring the threshold down so you can just start hearing this.
Maybe I should stay. Maybe things will change. Maybe I will find a way to just get over it. Too down to go, you're up for games, but baby, for...
So there's like an obvious moment where you start to break up and get into some distortion there, right? So that's really important that you understand, like when you're hearing this, you understand what's going on. The same threshold, the -10, where we got it breaking up in the verse, let's start to back off the dynamics, and so I can show you kind of what that's doing as well. Because now we're going to start to really open the record up, and it might even distort a lot more.
Feels like it's over, it's over. Maybe I should stay. Maybe things will change. Maybe I will find a way to just get over it. Too down to go, you're up for games, but baby.
So you can already see the sonic shaping and capabilities of this plugin is incredible, because with the transient limiter, you're able to choke down on the transients, which as a mastering engineer, that's incredible because it gives you the power to let the vocal, the melody, the melodic and harmonic content to push forward, which unfortunately is starting to distort now because it's so loud and the transients aren't, you know, balance that out. Now it's just like pushing that vocal and that mid-range information. It's pushing it really hard into distortion. And that's because as you bring that down, you're not limiting any of the transient information. So this is just like the biggest thing for me in this plugin. And the second biggest thing obviously is going to be the dynamic EQ for me. So let's set this back kind of where we were, and I'll start to show you a little bit of the power of this dynamic EQ. You can also see like there's clipping, algorithms, all sorts of really cool stuff. Come on, this thing, I could talk about this thing for hours, but I'm just going to give you kind of the baseline of how I use it and what I love about it. You also have oversampling, but that's only available on certain settings. So let's go back into this and let's look at, we got the style on manual. I'm going to take the dynamics and I'm going to open them up a little bit. So I'm only going to be at about 80% dynamics, which I'm not going to limit the peaks as much. And actually the style that I like and enjoy the most on this plugin is smooth. I don't know why. It's just something that I just have found that sounds the most musical to me. So I go to smooth and sure enough, oops, I just twisted that like crazy. So I'm going to go back to smooth here. So smooth, and then I click the advanced settings here. And you can see all the settings here that I'm really enjoying. Okay, so look ahead at 2 milliseconds, 60% on the dynamics. So you're a little over 50% of letting that transient limiter jump in. And then it hits the other limiter. So let's bring this down a little bit and I'll show you kind of the shaping possibilities of the dynamic EQ as well, which is just absolutely mind-blowing. Check this out.
You played with my heart, I gave it again. Dance floor is empty, baby, where have you been? Pouring all the same shots, baby, again. Feels like it's over, it's over. Maybe I should stay, maybe things will change. Maybe I will find a way to just get over it. Two down to go, you're up for games. But baby, for now, go on, don't waste it. Calm down for the afternoon, she's giving that attitude. Stolen love, it's stolen love. Keep pulling in my...
I mean, come on, is there any dynamic EQ that is this transparent? It's like, oh, I just want a little more pop kind of gloss in the vocal. Okay, I put 0.4 dB of 5K area up, right? And all of a sudden the vocals got some spit on them, just glossy, sounding beautiful. Oh, I don't want that low sub stuff to be so intense when it's hitting my other processing, which my final limiter is the Ozone 9. Okay, well, I'll just shelve out 0.4 dB at 60 hertz down. I mean, come on, it's incredible, right? Oh, this 1.7K was just a little too aggressive and was a little sharp for my ears, so I just dipped out, half a dB of that. So this is a really, really cool dynamic EQ. It's probably my favorite part of Limitless, I have to admit. That's what I use it for. And also understand this release. This is super, super powerful. The release and the threshold on this, these are exactly how this limiter works. And remember, we got 2-stage limiting and we have a dynamic EQ. So hopefully that was like a lot. And hopefully it's clarifying what this thing can do for you, but also you can hear it, right? And I'm just going to A-B it on and off for you real quick, just on that verse since you've heard it enough times here. But I'm going to play it for you A-B. You can kind of make up your mind on what you think about it, how clear it is, what it's really doing for the shape of the record, giving a little more level, all that stuff. Yeah, just drop a comment. Let me know what you think of Limitless and, if it's something you'd really mess with, because it's one of my favorite plugins for sure.
You played with my heart, I gave it again. Dance floor is empty, baby, where have you been? Pouring all the same shots, baby, again. Feels like it's over, it's over. Maybe I should stay, maybe things will change. Maybe I will find a way to just get over it. Two down to go, you're up for games, but baby,
you go. Hey, this thing blows my mind every time. I think they made an incredible plugin here. And anybody that's doing any sort of mastering processing, man, this plugin is worth its weight in gold for real. So I think the plugin is around $200 to $300, and I believe you get 2 license seats. I'm not really sure on that just because I've only used it on my computer. That's how I'm using it. And if you guys love the song, hopefully what you've heard so far of it, April 16th is dropping. I'm really excited to drop it. I'm excited to share it with the world, and I hope you guys love it, and just show love if you do like it, and share it with your friends. It would mean the world to me. All right, plugin out, plugin of the week. Pow, piggity pow out. Peace out.